Unlisted videos. Insider drops. The only way in is through my private SMS list.
Ilhan Omar just had a complete meltdown on national television after her disgraceful outburst during Trump's State of the Union address. CNN's Wolf Blitzer gave her 3 separate opportunities to apologize to the American people, and she refused every single time. But what happened next will shock you, and it reveals something much darker about the radical left's plans for America. See, this is not just about bad behavior in Congress. This is about respect for our institutions and the American people. When elected officials can scream like lunatics during the most important speech of the year and then refuse to apologize, we're witnessing the complete breakdown of civil discourse. Your tax dollars pay Omar's salary, yet she shows nothing but contempt for you and your values. Meanwhile, Trump's response has sent shockwaves through the establishment, and Democrats are scrambling to contain the damage. This moment perfectly captures why Trump won. Americans are sick of being lectured by people who hate this country. Speaking of recovery, let me share something personal that connects to this story about finding some real solutions. You see, for years, my wife battled chronic pain and anxiety that left her feeling hopeless. Endless doctor's visits, treatments that failed. Watching her struggle daily, it broke my heart. And seeing someone I love suffer while the medical establishment offered no real answers was just too much that I could bear. Then Jonathan Otto introduced us to red light therapy. Everything changed. Her pain vanished, anxiety lifted, and she got her life back. Just like Trump is exposing the failures of our political establishment, red light therapy exposes how the medical establishment has been keeping real healing solutions from you. Now, this breakthrough technology uses specific wavelengths of light to heal your body at the cellular level. No drugs, no side effects, just natural healing. Don't let the establishment keep you suffering when real solutions exist. Make sure you take advantage by clicking the link in the description below and use the promo codes for exclusive benefits for Next News viewers. But let's talk about Trump's response to Omar's tantrum. It's got Democrats panicking. In a blistering Truth Social post, he called out both Omar and Rashida Tlaib for having bulging, bloodshot eyes of crazy people during their outburst. Oh, he didn't stop there. He said that they should be sent back where they came from as fast as possible because they can only damage America. Italian Mike, he says, I haven't seen Ilhan Omar this mad since her brother forgot their wedding anniversary. This early social media reaction sets up the controversy. Now let's take a look at the issues the critics are raising about Omar's guest choice. Ilhan Omar's guest for the State of the Union is a woman who was injured while getting arrested by ICE because she was stalking and harassing them. And look at her face. Look at her face. Oh, the victim. You stalk and harass ICE, and you get injured in the process. Are you really that surprised?
You know, I have spent the last month learning the names of the tendons in my shoulder, because both of my shoulders are torn, cartilage and tendon, right? But what I haven't learned is the names of the people who did this to me.
What you haven't learned is a lesson. And that's what you haven't learned yet. Now we're seeing the anger escalate beyond just criticism of her guest. Social media is demanding answers about her entire congressional record. Adrian writes, someone care to explain to me why the corrupt, vile, fraudulent, disgusting, criminal piece of shit Ilhan Omar is still in Congress? Can anyone tell me why? The online outrage caught the attention of the confrontational activist Laura Loomer, who decided to take this directly to Omar in person. Oh boy. This morning, Ilhan Omar was silent for the first time in her life when Loomer Unleashed and the Charles Downs asked her why the American people should trust Democrats to control Congress when party leaders like herself are rebuffing President Trump's State of the Union.
Why should the American people trust congressional Democrats to take over Congress when party leaders like yourself are rebuttaling President Trump's State of the Union address promoting dangerous open border policies. You really think the American people will trust congressional Democrats, like I said, when party leaders like yourself are promoting dangerous open border policies? Would you like to answer, Congresswoman?
Oh, yes. Nothing to say. The confrontation leads us to another heated exchange where Omar gets caught in what appears to be a direct contradiction about her past statements. Libs of TikTok. Watch Ilhan Omar get caught lying, claiming she never said our country should be more fearful of white men. I never said that, she says. Oh, you're on video. And then plays the video.
Omar, you were just talking about how Trump's economy has failed the American people, but I think the American people really want to know how you went from a negative 65,000 before coming into Congress to over $30 million in just 7 years.
My disclosure is public now.
Yeah, it is. And so a lot of people now are looking into that and finding S. Crew Winery, a winery that doesn't actually seem to exist. Is that a real winery, or?
Do you all actually look at and read things, or do you just ask silly questions?
Well, it's listed in the financial disclosure, so can you explain it? Because we have a lot of questions about it, and things just aren't adding up. There's no real phone number. There's no real location.
Why did you want to buy some wine?
Probably not from you, to be honest. Recently stated that the American people should be afraid of the white man. They should be fearful of the white man.
I never said that.
Yeah, you're on video saying it.
Our country should be more fearful of white men across our country because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. No, I did not.
Yes, you.
Again, this is like what I said. You need to prepare yourself because you can't continue embarrassing yourself like this.
So I'm just a liar.
What I was quoting was an actual study done by the FBI.
Okay, thank you.
Just prepare next time.
All right, thank you, Congresswoman.
Allison nails her again. Dude, she's kicking ass out there. This pattern of confrontational behavior isn't isolated. We're getting reports from inside Congress about Omar's conduct with federal representatives. Sarah Gonzalez asked Representative Brandon Gill if Ilhan Omar gives him any dirty looks on the floor because of his bill to halt Somali migration.
Of course, were under fire by the left because you wanted to put a moratorium on bringing in any more Somalians. You said, all right, it's because something going horribly wrong. We need to stop it right now. What is it, 25 years?
25 years.
So I just want to know, like, does Ilhan Omar give you the stink eye whenever she sees you?
Usually it's much worse than that. I was giving a speech on the House floor about this bill in particular, and she was in the audience and she was screaming.
No.
I could barely hear what she was saying, but she was calling me names and all kinds of stuff.
You're kidding.
So she's not a big fan of me, I will say, to say the least.
Yeah.
But it's a 25-year moratorium is what I proposed, which I think is truly a moderate response to a severe problem.
Yeah.
This is not banning it completely, which I think would be justified, candidly. But a 25-year moratorium to simply say, we brought in a lot of people from all over the world. Why don't we allow them to assimilate, to come in so our culture and our society can cohere a little bit? And that hasn't happened for far too long. And with the Somali population in particular, and I think Minnesota is the best case study, whenever you have 78% of them who are on welfare, even after being in the United States for 10 years, that is so deeply insulting to Americans who are paying for this stuff, who are saying, we let you come into our country to enjoy the freedoms that we get to have, and yet you're making us pay for your housing and your health care.
CNN. What do you say to Ilhan Omar, who took the bait and yelled at President Trump?
Speaker, so much of, obviously, number one thing that people take away from watching the State of the Union is the president. But people are also watching for the reaction of the opposition party. And your leadership warned the caucus not to have any outbursts, not to take the bait. There was a moment where a couple of members did not, more than one moment, but I wanted to play one of them for you when a couple did not heed that. Just watch.
And enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens in many cases drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
That was hardly noticeable in the room. It may have been more noticeable on TV. Hardly noticeable. And then also when he started talking about corruption, the members were saying, what about you? What about you? What about you? That was another, more of an outburst than that, actually. I don't think that there was that much, shall we say, departure from what the leader had guided us to do. Don't come if you don't want to come, but if you come, we don't want to give him a moment. And I don't think they gave him a moment.
Nancy Pelosi trying to water it down a bit there. But there is reaction online. Cat turd. STFU, you lying POS crook. Where's the wine?
These for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases drug lords, murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
My favorite part was when he called out the Somali pirates. That was a good line, too. Here's a reporter. He said America should be more fearful of white men. Omar, I never said that. Oh, we played that already. Let's see. Democrat Debbie Wasserman Schultz gets called off for dismissing veterans who received the Medal of Honor during President Trump's speech. Ouch.
Heckling the president and now you handing out the congressional or awarding the Congressional Medal of Honor to undoubtedly a heroic helicopter pilot and then a fighter pilot, an award show. I'm wondering if the president could have said anything that you'd be okay with.
There are numerous times that I stood up during his speech, and I stood up for each of the individuals whose valor was worthy of the praise that he meted out. But I can tell you,
then
I
why
brought
call it
a
an
guest
award show and
tonight
be
from
so
my district.
dismissive?
I brought a guest tonight. Because I brought in a guest tonight from my district.
Yeah, who did you bring? Trump weighing in with the harshest comments yet. Trump says low IQ Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib should be sent back from where they came from as fast as possible. You got to love these Truth Social posts. When you watch Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib as they screamed uncontrollably last night at the very elegant State of the Union, such an important and beautiful event, they had the bulging, bloodshot eyes of crazy people, lunatics, mentally deranged and sick, who frankly look like they should be institutionalized. When people can behave like that and knowing they are crooked and corrupt politicians is so bad for our country, we should send them back to where they came as fast as possible. They can only damage the United States. They can do nothing to help it. They should actually get on a boat with Trump-deranged Robert De Niro, another sick and demented person, I believe, with extremely low IQ, who has absolutely no idea what he's doing or saying, some of which is seriously criminal. When I watched him break down in tears last night, much like a child would do, I realized he may be even oh my God. When I watched him break down in tears, much like a child, I realized that he may be even sicker than crazy Rosie O'Donnell, who's right now in Ireland trying to figure out how to come back to our beautiful United States. The only difference between De Niro and Rosie is she's probably so much smarter than him, which isn't saying much. The good news is that America is now bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before, and is driving them absolutely crazy. And then Ilhan Omar makes her first public appearance since her infamous State of the Union outburst, and it was a disaster with Wolf Blitzer.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries advised your caucus, the Democratic members, to either skip the State of the Union address or sit there in silence. Should you have just boycotted the address, and do you think you violated the guidelines set out by your own leader?
No, I think it was really unavoidable. The president talked about protecting Americans, and I just had to remind him that his administration was responsible for killing two of my constituents.
in Minneapolis. Many members of your Democratic Party criticized their Republican counterparts when they interrupted President Biden's State of the Union address, as a lot of us remember. Do you have any regrets at all about the interaction we played between you and President Trump just last night?
I do not. And I think many people look at that moment when the president says it is our responsibility to protect Americans. And he does not acknowledge the fact that two Americans, two of my constituents, two of our neighbors were killed. And it was important for me to just remind the American people that the president and his administration was responsible for killing two American citizens.
With hindsight, Congresswoman, do you think you would have been better off boycotting this speech like so many other Democratic lawmakers did, or did you do the right thing by actually showing up there?
I brought 4 Minnesotans as guests for the Minnesota delegation. It was important for us to be there, to bear witness, to hold the space for our constituents that have lived through an occupation from federal law enforcement, that have been terrorized, that have seen our neighbors been killed and traumatized in so many ways. And so, no, I think it was really important for my constituents to see me there. It was really important to my constituents to hear that I was reminding the president that Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed under this administration.
The occupation, she calls it. Oh, man. You see, this is exactly why Trump won in a landslide. Americans watch these radical Democrats scream and act like unhinged lunatics during what should have been a dignified moment, then refuse to apologize. Meanwhile, Trump calls it exactly what it is: mental derangement from people who hate our country. The contrast could not be clearer. You see, the mask is completely off now. Omar's refusal to apologize shows these radicals have nothing but contempt for you, our traditions, and for America itself. While they throw tantrums like children, Trump delivers results and calls out their disgraceful behavior. This is why the America First movement is unstoppable. We're done being lectured by people who despise everything we stand for. The American people see right through their act, and yes, November proved it too. So do you think that Omar should be censured for her disgraceful behavior and refusal to apologize? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.